Chicago at Indy. This number's moved all over the board, right? Like I think it was at 2.5 down to 1.5. Now it's at 1. You liked the Bears when it was at, I think it was at 1.5 on Sunday. Then it went up. Now it's come down. I'm having a hard time with this one. This Colts defense is terrible, right? Like they are not a
It
good
could just be
team.
Dan Quinn too. He might just be terrible at what he does.
Well, Dan Quinn.
Yeah, isn't he their DC?
No, Dan Quinn's coaching the Commanders.
Oh shit, you're right.
Um, but I do think this defense doesn't have the players, right? Like DeForest Buckner, like I said, is likely to miss the game.
Yeah.
They cannot rush the passer. Um, they cannot stop the run. Like the Bears, meanwhile, their defense has been phenomenal in coverage and rushing the passer. Like as a pass defense, both top 5 rated, according to Pro Football Focus. So this to me comes down to, is it Shane Steichen figuring out with his offensive brain, his big offensive brain, how to get Jonathan Taylor in the right spots, how to roll Anthony Richardson out? Because the one thing where the Bears are mediocre, rush defense. There's not their strength, right? So I want to bet the Colts. And I know like you were on the Bears, the line has moved in the Bears direction, but this feels like a Colts spot.
It does. My whole view of it though is this should be closer to a pick. Like I just think on a neutral field, Chicago would be favored. Like we just talked about. They're to me the more complete team right now. But yeah, like again, that stat you gave about the 0-2 teams. They did cover though week 1. Obviously, everyone knows we took them week 1, but
Yeah.
interesting game here. It's just, I think offensively, like you just said, I feel like they both cancel each other out, right? This should be a good matchup for the Colts. Their offensive line is obviously their best unit on the whole team. They should be able to move the ball against that Bears front, like you talked about here. But it's like the way the league is with all the penalties, Chad. This team feel like the Colts, where if they get one type of penalty on any type of drive, it feels like it's going to kill the drive, right? And that's like my issue on my hesitation right now, this Colts team. And the flip side, I don't want to put too much on Williams yet. Like people are just shitting on him 2 weeks in. It's like, can't we all agree that Tennessee has a pretty good defense and they just went up against a Houston team on the road that's also a pretty good defense and his line couldn't block anyone? Do we think his line is going to struggle as much against this Colts team? I don't. So I just have things I'm positive about this Bears team, and I'm having a really tough time finding things to be positive about this Colts team compared to the Bears. With the Bears, they do have things I can build on, not so much the Colts. So if you wanted to pass on it because the numbers become too sharp and it's too close now, I get it. Where if this was at 2.5, I think me and you would have put Bears in the contest. To me, that would have been a nice number and a good value pick. But like we just said, it's going towards a pick, right? Most books is down to +1, and I'm seeing kind of the juice towards it going to a pick. So you're right. If it does flip, maybe we go with the Colts just because of that amazing stat by Evan. But at this point, I'm happy to sit this one out.